Hi guys, before we get into this video, I would just like to thank each and every one of you that have subscribed, watched, liked or commented on one of my videos, and a big thank you to Barbara from 49 Dragonflies. She mentioned one of my videos on her channel and I received so much love after that. I really appreciate it. It's lovely to be part of such a supportive journaling community here on YouTube and also over on Instagram. Now, if you by any chance are not familiar with her, which I doubted, I will link her channel down below, and if you wish to go check her out, she does beautiful work in her junk journal, and I love how she incorporates her happy mail into her journals. It's very inspirational. Now, let's jump right into this video. Today I would like to share with you some magazines that I've picked up recently and just how I use them in my journals. I think they all look beautifully together and I always have them sitting on my coffee table in the living room, and every time I walk by them they definitely catch my eye. So I was thinking of going through all the magazines, but I've just got way too much to say, so instead, I'm going to take a magazine each month and then I will publish a video about it and we'll do a flip through and look at it. So I thought in this video I'll concentrate on Daphne's diary, and then next month we will grab a different magazine. So I'm just going to put this to the side and then I'll be right back. Okay, so the first magazine we're going to look at in this video is the Daphne's Diary. The Daphne's Diary is originally published in the Netherlands, but you can find it all over the world. Everywhere I've been, I've seen this magazine. In Australia, we are paying $11.20, and I know in the UK and Ireland, it's £5.99. I'm not sure how much it's retailing for in other countries, but you get 8 issues a year, and this magazine is filled with gorgeous goodies. So the cover you can definitely use. I would tear this out and turn it into, if you make your own journals, you can turn it into a cover for your journal. I think I will make use of this side, and you can, if you don't want that included, you can definitely cover it up with some lace or stickers, a label sticker. I love those retro label stickers. You can definitely stick that over there with some lace and just do a beautiful collage element here, and this can be a cover for your journal. I've also seen somebody using this cover and also the back of it, because look at that beautiful design there. I've seen somebody turning this into tags on Instagram, and that was a lovely idea. Sorry, I don't have that person's name, but they've either done it with like a tag punch or a die cutting machine, and they've made tags out of this. It's not very difficult to do, but it looks beautiful. So I love the color and the images in the magazine. It's beautiful. Here in the front you can see what you can find in the magazine. That is something that I will definitely cut out and use. Beautiful colors. This is all about making your own birdhouse. Look at that cute bird. Definitely I'll cut out this and that and use it. I will even, sometimes I love the font in the book and I'll cut out some of the words. So she's actually got exactly the measurements if you want to make your own birdhouse. And that is something that I will definitely use as well. Look how cute that is. And she's got some entries from her journal in here. They're always funny, and I have a great laugh when I read them. That's the font that I love in here. That's something that I will definitely cut out and use. And look at that lovely cake. Here, this page is all about inspirational things, and she gives you how much it costs with the website where you can purchase this from, if there's anything that you fancy over here. This is beautiful. Now, a page like this, I would not quite know what I want to do with it yet, because there's so much versatility in it, and this is one beautiful poem. So something that I would do here is I would tear this out and I will just store it until I've got a clear idea on what I would like to use it. So I'll quickly show you how I usually store the things from the magazines that I get. If it's a page like that, I will tear it out and store it in this pouch. It is overflowing, so I definitely have to rethink how I store this because it's just way too full. But here are some things that I got from previous Daphne's diaries. Now, I'll give you some ideas of how you can use it. You can definitely fold this page. And you can cut it to size, and if you make your own journals, you can work that into your journal as a page. Another way of using this is to cover your journal with it. If you really love this image, you can cut it to size and cover your journal in it. I'll show you some examples of how I've done that. So this is not necessarily from a Daphne's diary, but this is just a page, and I've folded it, I've cut it to the size that I would like it, and I've worked it into the journal. And this particular journal, this image came from a Daphne's diary. Loved it. It was actually autumn the time I started this journal, so I've just cut it to size and I've covered my journal in it, and the back paper is exactly the same. So that is something that you can do with these larger pages. You can also cut this apart and just use some of the words. This I thought was so beautiful and cool. This is something that I've always wanted to do, was practice those cityscape drawings. Just never thought I was quite good enough to do it, but here we've got some strips. It's perforated and you can cut them apart, and you can just take your pen and go over this and tip it into your journal, do some journaling at the back, or you can use it as inspiration and try and draw your own. And at the back you can see you can turn it into a postcard. There's a place for a stamp and an address with some journaling. So that is a cool tip in for your journal. This is actually egg cups that you can make. You don't have to. You can use that completely for something different. And at the back, I love this at the back. I will not throw that away. I'll cut this into pieces, and you can work it into your journal. If you've got a sewing machine, or you don't even have to have a sewing machine, you can just use glue, stick it into your journal and use it as like a tuck spot where you can tuck things away. So here's an example of something that you could do. So if you just cut a strip, just use glue, insert it in your journal. You don't even have to do these little bits that I've got there at the top, because that is beautiful enough as is. And then you just glue the edge of it, or sew the edge of it so it can still lift up, and then you can tuck something in there. It can be a memento that you've collected, some journaling that you've done on paper, or it can be just a photo that you tuck in there. So that's a beautiful picture. I will just cut that out and use it as is. These coffee marks, they give me so much inspiration. I'm thinking of using like a craft mat or something that I can mess on, and just throw some coffee on it, use my mug or the bottom of a glass, the rim, and dip it in there, and then try and replicate these marks over a journaling spread and journal on it. That I think will look very, very beautiful, and it's going to give it a very vintage look. Here you've got some paper eggs. I really love this idea. You can cut out all the eggs and you stack them on top of each other, starting with the biggest and then going down all the way to the smallest, and then just taking a needle with some sewing thread, and then you just sew down the middle of the egg and you lift the rest up, and it's like a 3D egg. So this issue was released during Easter. We always get the issues quite later than you would in Europe and the UK. So this is the latest issue. I don't know if I've mentioned it, but this is the latest issue in Australia. And I think it's more or less the same in America and If you're outside of Europe, we always just get it a bit later. You don't have to use the eggs like this. You can cut it out and use it as a nameplate or a place to put your date. If you love dating or naming your journal entries, I would take tea dye paper or normal white paper, stamp the date out, and I'll just stick it there or sew it on there and put that in my journal. This is another article that she wrote, or a diary entry. It's mostly about her pets and her family and what's happening in her day-to-day life. If you love interior decorating, then you can get some ideas from this. If you own a shop that's selling crafty things or fabric, you can get some cute storage ideas out of it as well, or how to do up your shop front. And you also have some recipes if you love cooking. This is a to-do list if you would like to spring clean your home during spring. She's got a to-do list for each room and even space to add your own. So if you're a planner or you love cleaning, this is something you can tear out and put it into your journal and use it as a to-do list. I would also cut these out. If you don't want to use the to-do list, cut these images out and just use it as is. It can make beautiful ephemera. Now you always get some stickers in. These stickers are meant to be used on eggs to make these egg characters, but you can use it for anything. I would, in a creative journal, maybe draw my own eggs or some quirky characters or whimsical girls and use the eyes and the eyelashes, some flower crowns, lips, bows, mustaches, and just make some quirky things out of it. If you've got kids, I mean, that would be fun for them to do. They would love it. And then this is just one of those articles again, where it's a couple that's just showing off the home that they've got and how they've decorated it. Usually it's very inspirational stories where they have renovated this from scratch. That is something that I'll definitely cut out and use, and even this year at the bottom. You also get some creative articles in here. So this is a artist, and she works with clay and she makes these beautiful coral sculptures, and that she must be so talented because they look very intricate. It's amazing that she can do that with clay. And then just some more recipes on sweet potato. That is definitely something that I'll use. So you've got a step-by-step instruction list here of how to sketch this picture. And if you are not good with sketching or you're still a beginner, you can use this and you can try and complete it. So some of the outlines are already there for you. If you're experienced, you can just go into your sketchbook, or I'm going to say if you're experienced, but if you're a bit more experienced or you want to challenge yourself, then you can just use the step-by-step guide and sketch it from scratch into your sketchbook. Wow, what a conundrum for that. It's like my tongue's getting tired. Another poem, and then you've got a little diary book here just with some normal paper in. This can be used for so many things. It can be a book that you use as a to-do list. It can be where you write a wish list of things that you would like to purchase, whether it's art supplies, books, shows that you're busy watching or that you would like to watch. Or you can just tear this out and use it as a journaling space and then insert it into an envelope to put into your journal. So that book can be used for so many different things. The only thing that I don't like about the Daphne's diary is like this middle part, because all of a sudden the paper's changing. It's becoming a very smooth, glossy paper, which is not my favorite, but it's just a small part of it that's going into the middle. And you've got some tips here on bullet journaling and some ideas. Daphne's also got a shop where she sells washi tapes. You can order back issues. That's lovely. That's something that I'll definitely use. So the shop is very interesting, and she's got paper packs in there as well. And I thought this was very cute. This is a fold out. I hope you'll be able to see it. This is a fold out of some flowers, and I just want to make sure you're in frame. And you can definitely paint or color this, keep it as it is. You can frame it, put it up in your studio or somewhere in your house. You can also just work this into your journal like I showed you previously. You can cut it down and fold it and work it into your journal as a page if you love making your own journals. You can also keep it as it is and work it into a journal and just maybe fold it over. It depends how big your journals are though. You can really use it for so many different things. Another thing that I love about the magazine is that it's never blank. So at the back of this, you've got this beautiful background, and you can use this if you love doing art journaling. You can use this in your background just to create some interest. That I'll definitely use. I'll treat it as washi tape. And then this is one of my favorite parts of the magazine as well, which is very surprising. She's always got an article about something historical. So for example, in this issue, she's looking at sport and she's going back in history, where it started, and just talking about the history of sport. You get some lovely images from this, very vintage looking. And one that I particularly loved was in one of her issues. She was talking about traveling, and she had these beautiful images of suitcases and maps and things like that. So surprisingly, this is one of my favorite parts of the book. And then this is just something fun. Can you find the parachute without a pocket watch? And it's right over there. This article is about a couple that's got an estate, and they've just renovated the estate, so you can just see how they've decorated it. And that is something that I'll definitely use. I'll just cut it out, use it as it is, or use it as a background for a photo. So you can just layer your photo over it like that, and it already lifts it up and takes it to a different space. You can also use it as an interesting element in your journal, where you stick this down as a base and then layer more images just on the side of it, sew on a button, and there you go. It makes a beautiful piece. She's also got some recipe cards in here, and this is made out of a very heavy cardstock. It's perforated, so if you love cooking, this is definitely for you. This, I would rather use the back side. I love that. And again, I'll just treat it as I would treat washi tape. Now, this is also made from a heavy cardstock. As you can see, it's difficult to see, but you've got some leaves here and they pop out like that. So if you love doing crafty projects, this is something that you can do. You can tear it out, and then if you've got a very big A4 journal, like I've got a Dilutions one, you can paint the background and then stick this over and have the leaves popping out, so there are more leaves as you go to the top. And then you can just stick a stick there or a piece of rope, and I mean, you can do so much more to it, but if you want to keep it simple, that's the idea that she's used. You can change it up completely. You can also just back it on another white paper or a colorful paper, and you can put it on your mood board or put it somewhere in your craft room or studio, whatever you've got somewhere in your home, and just keep it up for the month. Something that you've made that inspires you to continue. She's always got something about traveling. Another one of my favorites. I love the maps. Love the writing and the fonts. There's not everything that you can use, but I mean, if you maybe camping in a tent, you can definitely cut out those words and try and use them in your spread. And if you love traveling, you can maybe get some new ideas of where you can travel. This is about decoupaging an egg, so that's something fun to do. But if you don't want to necessarily decoupage an egg, you can use the technique that she is telling you over here and incorporate it into something else. You can use decoupaging on an envelope that you've got, or somewhere in your journal, or maybe you want to do a special gift wrapping. You can take a box and use some serviettes or napkins and decoupage the whole box full of napkins and have these beautiful images, and then insert a gift there. So you can get some other ideas. You can take the technique and incorporate it into something else. Another one of her funny diary entries, cute picture that really makes me want to draw some cartoon pictures, use my watercolors and color it in or paint it. That's beautiful. That's something that I'll definitely use. This is another one. Stunning. I would, first of all, I think I'll tear this page out and just keep it aside and decide what I would like to do with it. But if I've decided, I would definitely, if I don't want to use it as it is, you can cut up these pieces and use it. I am currently working on a lot of tags, and I'm getting most of my images from the Daphne's diary by cutting pieces out, and I'll show you a few examples when we're done here. So here we've got this artist. She does paper mache dolls, very talented and inspirational. Love her table, love that mess. My table looks like that most of the time. So it's just interesting to read about what everybody's doing. This is something that I would love to do. I don't know if it's going to work in an art journal if I have to do it on a different piece of paper, but she's given you basically all these pieces, and that's what it's supposed to look like when you've finished. And so you're just sticking them down and making like a 3D bird. You can use foam tape, or you can try and do it with glue as well. You can turn it completely. If you don't want to do the bird, you can turn it into something else. You can just cut this out and think of different ways of using it. You don't even have to do the bird, but I'm very keen on trying it. It's just showing you what's going to be in the next issue. Love those lips. We'll definitely be using that. Things like that I normally won't use. It's just not my style. So that will just go into recycling. And love that as well. Beautiful back cover. So with this Daphne's diary, I'll also receive this colouring in book with it. Now, just a heads up, if you're in Australia, I picked it up from Coles and they had the colouring in book included, but with some of the news agencies that I walked past, they did not have this book included with the Daphne's diary. So I don't know what's up with that, but it's definitely just certain issues at certain stores that have the colouring in book with. So if you want to pick it up, I would suggest go have a look around if you would like to get the colouring in book with it. Now, I do love colouring in books, although I haven't been colouring in for quite a while. And this is beautiful, but I will definitely not treat this as a colouring in book. I would do exactly the same that I said previously. I will tear this out and work it, maybe tea stain it and work it into a journal as a page, because it's just got beautiful, lovely, big images. And you can cut some pieces out if you would like to, but I would just keep it as it is. If you love coloring in, then the background's already there for you, and you can just continue coloring in these little teapots. There are so many things that you can do with this book though. You don't just have to work it into a journal. You can also turn it into an envelope. And there are many other ways that you can use it. This is definitely one of my favorites. And I do know that she does, I've seen this book before in her shop, I'm very sure. So if you can't find this colouring in book with the Daphne's diary, then you can get it from her shop. I have seen it in there before. I don't know if it's available still, but it used to be. So here are more ways of how I've used the Daphne's diary before. I have made some tags with some of the images. Some are a bit more quirky and fun, some are very busy, and others look a little bit more vintage. And I've incorporated, like, that's from the Daphne's diary, these words are that heart is, but this is just normal washi that I've used and a label that I've had. This image is from the Daphne's diary, those words and the flowers, this is one of my favorites, and both of these 2 images or 4 images I also got from the Daphne's diary. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. We've come to the end. Next month I will show you the Breathe magazine. It's also another lovely magazine, one of my favorites as well, and I'll share with you how I think I would use the pages in there and share some more ideas with you. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and keep an eye out for the next magazine video next month, and I'll see you soon. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day. Bye.